Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, 2 holiday traditions are returning to the parks this year. The hotels are decked out with decorations and entertainment for the holidays.
New Avengers on deck, less magic keys to choose from. We talked to Stephanie about social clubs in the parks and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard the DL Weekly podcast. Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding. If this is your first time listening, we hope you'll check out our website at DLWeekly.net. If you have more time to spend, becoming an official weekly tier at DLWeekly.net/support is an especially good value. Thanks for traveling with us today, and we hope you have a happy and memorable listen to this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of December 1st, 2021. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Teg Bushman. It is official weekly tiers like Mandy B and Sarah E who ensure that DL Weekly can happen every week. We have an amazing community of Disneyland fans that are ready to meet you, hear your experiences, share your knowledge, and share all they have to offer with you. Head on over to DLWeekly.net/support to join the community. I also want to take a moment to send a shout out for a happy birthday to Jess, who, if you guys remember a few episodes ago, we had Thompson on as a guest. It is his mom's birthday, so we wanted to send a nice shout out to Jess. So I hope you have a great happy birthday, and thank you for turning Thompson on to our podcast.
Our friends over at All Enchanting Ears have been busy. They make fun and unique ears, face masks plus ear holders, straw toppers, lithophanes, coasters, and so much more. They are offering a special discount code available to all weekly tiers. Use code DLWeekly10 for 10% off your entire purchase. Head on over to allenchantingears.com to check them out.
Oh yeah, they got some new different coasters on there.
Yeah, all sorts of good stuff.
I do like their coasters a lot, I will say. We have a couple. James has a Star Wars set, and I have what is set? I have a Disney Castle set, I think, that I really enjoy through them. So they've worked out really well. They've saved my desk from a lot of rings and stuff that happened. So thank you guys for that. Well, it is that time again for our friend Eric over at Concierge to catch us up on other Disney news.
Hello, everyone. This is Eric Johnson with Concierge, and welcome to the D180. While Teg and Teresa cover all things Disneyland in the D180, we take a spin around the rest of the Disney universe, and we do it in 180 seconds. Let's jump right in. We start our journey at, Disneyland? Am I reading that right? We start our journey at Disneyland, where seasoned Walt Disney World guests can finally put away their phones and use magic bands for once. Trust us, you'll like them. The real news is savings. Book trips to the resort hotels from January 3rd through April 7th, 2022 and expect some deep discounts. Starting now, you can book premium rooms at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa or at the Disneyland Hotel for 25% off. Standard rooms still see 20% off. If you like staying with a view across the street from DCA, rooms at Paradise Pier are 10% off. See? Disneyland content. We do it from time to time, don't we? Whew. Now let's get back across to the East Coast for some Walt Disney World news, right? The recent Destination D23 event revealed some fairly crucial new unveilings. First and foremost, those interstellar travelers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, are set to land at Epcot in summer of 2022. Visitors to the park would be remiss if they, missed the giant show building behind the former Universe of Energy Pavilion at Epcot. From far away, it's almost easy to overlook the giant sky blue box that will house one of the longest indoor roller coasters in America. The ride is only part of the fun. Guests will approach the Wonders of Xandar Pavilion and see a life-sized replica of a Xandarian Star Blaster ship outside. Inside, exhibits demonstrate the incredible technologies and artifacts the Xandarians are willing to share with Earth. Of course, the Guardians will also make their debut on the East Coast along with Glenn Close's character Nova Prime. This roller coaster is the first at Epcot and one of the few in the world to premiere a reverse launch. Also, it's the only to use the revolutionary Omni Coaster car that allows it to rotate along with all that rocketing about. Also, most of the news ends with the cryptic phrase, "I am Groot." Let's end this week's news with a quiet appreciation for the electric water pageant at Walt Disney World. It's been 50 years and 1 month since this attraction first appeared at Walt Disney World, and it's high time I mentioned it. This celebration of lights and Disney music predated the original Main Street Electrical Parade. What started out as simple chicken wire and Christmas lights kicked off decades of enjoyment. The original show has definitely changed over the last 50 years, but it's still at its core the same beast. A few boats quietly ply the waves of the Seven Seas Lagoon and Lake Buena Vista, covering the Grand Floridian, Polynesian, Contemporary, Wilderness Lodge, and Fort Wilderness resorts. Even better, the parade is now listed on My Magic Plus, giving you show times based on where you are. Take a little extra time on your next trip to view this nightly spectacular. The newest iteration includes a sparkling castle and hints at the 50th anniversary anthem, The Magic is Calling. The electrical water pageant remains one of my favorite parts of a Walt Disney World trip, and I hope you can bring it into your traditions as well. And there you thought I wasn't going to mention the 50th anniversary this time, huh? Yeah, right. And that's 180 seconds. I hope you enjoyed our quick spin around the rest of the Disney universe. If you'd like to learn more about these Disney adventures or just have a few questions, please come on over. Visit the social media and websites of both DL Weekly and us, their official travel planners, Concy Ears. We look forward to planning something special for you and your family. I'm Eric Johnson, and this has been your D180.
Well, thank you, Eric, for that lovely amount of information around thing. And you better be careful getting in on our Disneyland news there.
Now let's get to the news.
A holiday tradition is returning to the parks next week. The famous Disneyland Resort candy canes will be on sale again at Candy Palace and Candy Kitchen on Main Street on December 7th, 9th, 15th, 21st, and 23rd. Over at Disney California Adventure, they'll be on sale December 8th, 14th, 16th, and 22nd at Trolley Treats on Buena Vista Street. A mobile waitlist system will be in place to get one of these confections, and there is a limit of one per guest with no discounts accepted.
This is, I don't know why, but super, super exciting to me because I think it's extra exciting this year because we didn't have candy canes. We didn't have them last year. So I think it's even more special, more important that they're coming back. It's something I haven't had one yet. It's definitely on my Disney bucket list to try one of these candy canes, but I just can't get over how the process of how they make them, how giant they look to be. I would be in holiday heaven if I could be walking down Main Street and peek in the candy window and watch them make. I would probably be stuck there for quite a while because watching them make candy, I think, is mesmerizing.
18 inches long. That is a huge candy cane.
I wonder what the diameter is.
That's what I was just thinking. I'm wondering how round and stuff there. I don't know. We've been talking a lot about the candy canes, I feel.
It'll take a while. I can't imagine how long it takes to eat one of these candy canes.
It takes you a while to eat a normal candy cane. I'm wondering, we were thinking about this. Usually they have them in some days of November too, but not this year. So I'm glad that they did get them there. If you are going to be in the parks in the next couple weeks, hopefully your reservations light up because reservations are kind of all out if you're a Magic Key holder right now.
That was the other thing that I thought was crazy is, these are a very, very popular holiday treat. Crazy popular holiday treat. And they announced the candy cane release schedule after reservations were already full. So it was kind of just, I don't know, it was Disney magic if your reservations lined up the correct way with how this release schedule went. I know we have some weekly tiers that have reservations for the days that the candy canes are being released. However, they're starting in the opposite park, so it doesn't quite line up. So it's just, it's crazy. You never know, though. Just check the reservation calendar. Things can pop up at any time. What was it? A week ago when we were recording the podcast, suddenly all of December was unblocked for all key levels. So you never know. But if you are interested in getting a candy cane this year, of course you need your park reservation. But the other thing too is it is a mobile wait list this year. So what you're going to do to join that mobile wait list, head on over to Main Street, the Candy Palace, or you can head on over to Trolley Treats right away, scan yourself in on that mobile wait list. I've heard rumors that some people were saying, oh, you can scan into the wait list while you're waiting, queued up to even get into the parks. I don't feel like they're going to do that. I feel like you have to actually be in the park, be at the location to scan in.
I just
Good
want
luck to everyone.
report. I was just, because we were talking about passes. I just was looking at the calendar, and the Dream and Believe keys for December. Everything had been sold out. As I was clicking back and forth, the Enchant key. Tomorrow there was an availability, and on Thursday there was an availability, and the Imagine key, same thing. They are both gone
and now.
now.
They're gone.
So in just the few seconds of Teresa talking and me clicking back and forth, I saw them come and go.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're just lucky, sometimes you might get in there and get something. So hopefully any weekly tiers who are listening will be there on one of those days that they can get a candy cane. And if you do, let us know.
The Candlelight Processional will again take place at Disneyland after not being open last year. Again, something that's coming back that we missed out on last year. It's very exciting. There are 2 nights with 4 total performances on December 4th and 5th. That's this coming Saturday and Sunday at 5:30 p.m. and 7:45 p.m. If you are not a member of the media, a Club 33 member, or an invited guest, your best bet to see the performance will be for the second performance each night, as the limited seating area is cleared in between performances. So option A is stake out your spot super early.
Like park
open, stake out your spot super early to catch that 5:30 show. Or if you don't want to devote that much time, you might be able to sneak in as the 5:30 show. People are, shuffling out, and you can just quickly sneak in there, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that it reminds me of Phantasmic, right?
Yeah.
Where people would wait hours and hours to get a seat for the first showing. But if you just waited till the first show was over and everybody left, you could just, after custodial went through and swept everything, you could just get right on in. And so that's been the recommendation for this too. I will tell you though, they also said in some of the places I've seen them talking about this, that if you just want to see part of this performance, you can watch them. They come down Main Street. So you can be anywhere along Main Street and watch them come down as they head towards the performance space, which is in front of the train station. So if you're in the parks on those days, you have a good chance of seeing at least part of the Candlelight Processional. And I have to imagine that anywhere on Main Street, you could probably hear what's happening.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be I understand logistically, it seems like it's a nightmare. And if you're there not enjoying the Candlelight Processional, it could be kind of a pain to get in and out because that's right at the entrance there.
Yeah.
I did see reports that they're going to have the 2 backstage areas open behind Main Street to let crowds go through. So that'll be in effect. But it's still going to be a pinch point because you still have to get out the
under the tunnels, under the railroad tracks. Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't think about that part, but yeah, that's interesting.
The hotels of the Disneyland Resort have finished their holiday transformations this year. Some of the things the guests can experience include the under-the-sea themed Christmas tree at Paradise Pier Hotel, a vintage-inspired mural at the Disneyland Hotel, and, of course, the massive tree with ornaments inspired by the arts and crafts movement of California at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. In addition, the gingerbread house at the Grand Californian is a sight to behold, with treats for sale nearby. Santa Claus will be at each of the hotels from November 25th through December 24th, with handbell carolers at the Grand California now through January 9th, and holiday carolers strolling between the Disneyland Hotel and the Paradise Pier Hotel December 15th through the 25th.
I have to say, this gingerbread house looks incredible. Just some stats for everyone. It was created from more than 600 pounds of gingerbread, 600 pounds of powdered sugar, 250 pounds of fondant, and of course a pound of pixie dust. Plus, there are 25 hidden Mickeys located in this big structure as well. I'm sure it's just a sight to behold and probably smells amazing in person.
I didn't put it in the script, but for those of you who like spa treatments, there is a Spa La La at the Tenaya Stone Spa. There is a Candy Cane Lane foot treatment that uses a refreshing peppermint cocoa foot soak scrub and a minty massage to soothe and invigorate the feet and legs. There's the Under the Tree signature massage, which is a customized massage technique combined with a sense of fir, California lemon, wild mint, and a touch of eucalyptus for pure relaxation. So if you're into the spa stuff, yeah. And as Eric said earlier with the D180, there's also a discounts going on for staying at the hotel from January 3rd through April 7th.
We talked about It's a Small World's problems that came from flooding of the attraction just prior to it reopening for the holiday season. No official updates, but Mice Chat reports that people are working around the clock to get the attraction open as soon as possible. The Disneyland calendar continues to push the refurbishment listed out one day at a time, hoping for a miracle. Our sources indicate that a miracle is what it will take to get it open before the end of the holiday season, which breaks my heart.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how much work went into this attraction with the cast members, changing it over for the holiday season. And then to have this go on, and of course, there's cast members that are working round the clock, apparently, to try to get it fixed. But can you imagine if no guests get to see it and it's time to switch it back to normal?
It's too bad that you can't somehow make it a walk-through attraction so people could... I mean, I'm sure safety reasons you can't walk on, walk through the flume, but it's too bad. Or maybe like drain it and put wheels on the bottoms of the boats, and they can just like
cast members could push you through.
Like, it'd be like the People Mover.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, through Small World Holiday. But yes, you're right. It's very sad that all of this work went into the holiday overlay, and it's looking like nobody. Guests aren't going to be able to enjoy it this year. However, we are not electricians. We are not Disneyland maintenance, so we don't know for sure. But from what we have heard from sources inside, the maintenance and the fixing and the replacing required is massive, and so it is going to take a long time. Basically, if you haven't heard what happened, when they were refilling the flume. There was a leak. We're not going to point fingers, but the flume was leaking, and that water leaked into. There's like a basement under Small World where a lot of the electrical is housed, and so that was all had all this water damage to it. Some of that equipment dates back to the 60s, the beginning. So that's the problem, is that they've got to replace this electrical equipment, or maybe not replace, but get it fixed and working again. If they have to get it replaced, I feel like that's going to take longer, because then you have to, make sure everything's up to code, all sorts of stuff, because I'm sure a lot of that was possibly grandfathered in. So again, we don't know the details. That's just stuff that we have heard through the grapevine, and things that we've pieced together on our own. But it's not looking so good for poor Small World, which makes me sad. However, if you are going to be in the parks, they are still doing the lighting ceremony for the outside and the exterior. So they do still have a little bit of holiday cheer going on with Small World as much as they can right now.
Yeah, it's just a shame. I also am concerned, water seeps up and does everything, and a lot of that stuff is paper. So I'm hoping that none of the scenery I
have heard reports that the set was not damaged.
Oh, good. That makes me feel better, because that's like irreplaceable almost. Well, Avengers Campus has been terrific in how often different Avengers and other Marvel characters cycle into and out of the new land. This time, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop from the new Disney Plus series Hawkeye will be battling the Tracksuit Mafia, then taking part in meet and greets with guests. The battle will take place on select days on the rooftop of Avengers headquarters.
I just really like... They need to do this in Galaxy's Edge, but I really like how they have brought Avengers Campus to life, and they have all of these, quote unquote, random things happening around that, guests can stop and watch and partake in and experience. I think that's so cool. I just really wish that they would somehow start incorporating and doing that kind of stuff over in Galaxy's Edge to give it a little bit more oomph, a little bit more life.
They need it for sure, but. Yeah, I just think that it's so cool that and we've talked about this before on the show, as episodes of these series on Disney Plus happen, Loki was the best example. Every week there was the different variant of Loki there. And so the fact that they've been able to keep doing this with their Disney Plus, again, I think I talked about this before, the synergy aspect, I feel like Disney's really working well with the synergy between the Marvel stuff on Disney Plus and Avengers Campus. So that's very exciting to me, because I feel like it's always a missed opportunity when they don't bring things from TV shows or movies into the parks right away, because you're going to have those people there. And some people that are the big fans of these characters are going to have watched it on Disney Plus and then come to the park. But some people are going to see these characters the first time in the park, and that's a good advertisement to go home and watch it on Disney Plus.
The thing that's amazing to me about this too, right? Hawkeye just released last week. It hasn't even been a full week yet. And
when this goes out, it'll be 1 week.
So it's right, like it's brand new. And the fact that this is a stunt, they had been planning this stunt show for how long for it to like really, that's the thing that's so cool to me is it's not like, oh, we just had to like, I mean, I think it's a big deal to cast someone for the part and to get the wardrobe put together. But now it's a whole nother level because it's a stunt show. So all of these people, just crazy. Just crazy. Very,
Have you had a chance
cool,
to watch it yet?
I have not, no.
It's the Tracksuit Mafia is a thing in the show. It's really hilarious.
I figured it must be, and it wasn't just.
They're literally in tracksuits. They look like a bunch of like old men wearing, like jogging outfits. It's very funny. Yeah, I don't know much about how it's going to work with the show, but I think it's quite funny.
Splash Mountain is going down for refurbishment starting on January 10th. Some online think that this might begin the changeover to the Princess and the Frog theme that is coming sometime in the future. Since there has not been any official word from Disney on this, we are going to assume that it's just the annual maintenance for the attraction, just like they do for Grizzly River Run each winter at the resort. If anything changes or gets announced, of course, we will let you know.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of places kind of took this and ran with it, and everybody's like, this means the Princess and the Frog is coming, and people have done some big write-ups, but a couple of these outlets have not linked anything official from Disney, but have said that Disney has contacted them or posted somewhere or something. We could not verify that it is just the regular annual maintenance. When I read this morning, when I wrote this, I figured it was going to be the maintenance because I feel like Disney would make a bigger deal about it because they've been making a bigger deal about these things.
Yes.
So we would know and I feel like they would lose an opportunity to have ride it one last time and the last little bit of merch and stuff from it.
I feel the same way. I don't think that they're going to quietly make this change, especially because they've been building so much excitement and, been giving us little teasers of concept art and that sort of stuff. I was thinking about that. We haven't seen any more teasers for a while. A changeover like this, it's not something that they just go, let's just, do this, and this. No, it takes months to do this kind of stuff. So it's not like snap your fingers, boom, it's done. So depending on where they were in the process when they did announce it to the public, that could have been just the beginning stages or it could have been closer to the end. We don't know. But you got to think they've got to, swap out all of the animatronics and all the physical things in the attraction itself. It's brand new music because remember the storyline for the new Princess and the Frog attraction happens after the movie. So it can't use all of the music that we love from the film. It's all new stuff. Plus you got to record.
Hopefully it'll be good.
Tons and tons. I'm very, very excited. Very excited.
I'm excited for it too. The other thing too is some people did reference an interview with, I don't remember who it was, but it was somebody out at Walt Disney World. Might have been the president of Magic Kingdom. Said that these things take months to years to do. Yeah. So, and I don't think that was that long ago when this person was quoted. So my guess is that they're still going through a lot of the process of what they're going to do. And then also, I'm sure that they're going to try to be efficient about this, and they're going to try to create all of the assets that are going to go into these attractions on both coasts probably at the same time. So they have to come up with, and anybody who's been to both of them know they are totally different attractions. Yeah. So they're probably trying to figure out all of how that works together and how they're going to get a story to work together, even though the layouts and a lot of the sets pieces and stuff between the two are totally different. So I think there's still a lot of work to do on it. I assume that maybe by this time next year we might have more information on exactly when it's going to close if it hasn't already closed, but I don't think it's going to be coming in the next few months. And if this is just a regular maintenance, that points to me that it's going to be even further down the road, because why would they do any type of maintenance now if they're going to close it and refurbish it 4 months from now?
Well, because it's still going to be the same ride system. So you need to make sure that you've got, keeping up on the maintenance so something
Well, we know that there's been electrical problems too lately, so they're probably trying to fix some of that.
Yeah.
For guests wanting to upgrade to a Magic Key, the options are getting less and less. Last week, we reported on the Dream Key being sold out, and now the Believe Key has sold out. The only keys left are the Enchant Key and the SoCal-only Imagine Key. This follows annual pass sales being suspended in Walt Disney World to help control the level of crowds in the parks.
It is sad to see that they are pausing sales on the top 2 now levels of keys, but I think it also makes sense because right now Disney's in a really weird place because you've got all of these keys that people currently have, but only so many reservations. And it's kind of been this weird uphill battle trying to figure out, as new key holders trying to figure out the reservation system, but then also Disney implementing the reservation system to figure out how many reservations per bucket make the most sense. Because you don't want to just say, here, ticketed day ticket guests, you get all of the reservations and we'll leave this tiny slice for you, not annual pass holders, magic key holders. You just get this, you get the leftovers. And then flip side of that, you don't want to have it all magic key holders and no ticket sales. So it's going to take, I feel like a broken record. It's going to take time for them to work out the kinks. So I think it's a very smart move on Disneyland's part to pause sales right now because the system right now feels like it's overwhelmed with the amount of key holders versus reservations. So it does not make sense to add more key holders to that equation because that's just going to make things worse at this point.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully, I feel like they've been doing a good job of, they've been sending out surveys and stuff and asking. I got a survey. Did you get one yet?
Not yet, no.
So I got a survey and some other weekly tiers in the chat got surveys about the Magic Key program. And they even had pretty direct questions there like, do you make reservations, not like just out of in case kind of basically was the question that you may not attend, that kind of stuff. So I think that they're going to figure some things out. They might even go to what it seems like they're starting to phase in perhaps is that they're not, when they do open up time, that they're not giving the entire bucket out in the beginning. Yeah. So then they kind of drizzle out more of the bucket as time goes on.
I'm not sure if it's that or if they just, we're just going to say they give, again, this is not Disney numbers by any stretch of the imagination. This is just Teresa throwing out random numbers. We'll say they do it 50-50, we say. So 50% of the reservations go to key holders, 50% of the reservations go to ticketed guests. Well, a key holder is most likely somebody local. A ticketed guest, most likely someone not local, someone that's planning a vacation. So the closer you get to dates and the closer you get to dates, you can start taking some of the 50% that was set aside for ticketed holders and changing that over into the magic key holders because at a certain point,
people aren't vacationing that close.
Yeah, people aren't just going to pop up and, 2 weeks later, poof, here we are kind of thing versus key holders who could look at their phone, make a reservation and be in the park that evening. Disney doesn't want an empty park. So if they are seeing trends where, we're way out of whack, there's a ton of, you have all this empty space that we reserve for ticketed holders, they're not using it, we may, they're going to push that over into the magic key buckets.
Do you think that they hold a certain amount of those ticket days for day of? So like if I show up to the park and want to buy a ticket the day of?
I heard online, I don't remember where it was, one of the many, many Disney things that I follow, that no, it's you can, if there are not reservations available, you cannot buy same day tickets. So it is
what I mean is,
so like it's not every day. So sometimes yes, you can walk up and buy a ticket, and sometimes no, you cannot.
Interesting.
So that gets a little confusing too.
Somebody brought this up when we talked about these passes sometime this week, and I had forgotten kind of about this, I guess. With the Flex Pass, one of the nice things was there were good-to-go days that didn't require a reservation. I feel like what might relieve some of this pressure of people panicking and getting reservations when they don't need it is by doing those good-to-go days.
I think we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when that'll happen. I don't think reservations as a whole, I don't think are going to go away.
I don't think
But
so
I
either.
do think that we might get to a point where, like you said, you kind of have a little bit more flexibility with something like good-to-go days. Or even if they just say, hey, you know what? Doesn't look like 4 days is enough for you Enchant key holders and 6 days isn't enough for you Dream key holders. We're bumping it up because otherwise you're not getting enough days. Something's going to give. It's a learning process, right? It's new for us. It's new for them. So yeah, they're just trying to figure it out. Amazon and Disney have partnered together to offer Alexa services to hotel guests in Disney World and next year at Disneyland. Current Amazon smart device owners can ask their devices to launch Avengers Campus recruitment to be taken on an interactive audio tour of Avengers Campus. It is a fun addition to the smart device and can be used to get your family excited for your next trip.
So as I wrote this, I was in the middle of writing it, and I asked my smart speaker. I know from listening to other podcasts, you don't want to say the A name because it'll set off everybody's speakers. So I asked her to launch Avengers Campus recruitment, and it was kind of cool. They went through a thing. The beginning thing is very kind of Disney parks generic, kind of like Disneyland. It is Disneyland. And then it asks you, like, do you want to hear about Avengers Campus? And you have to say yes. Mm-hmm. And then they talk about Mission Breakout, and they talk a little bit about it, like about what the attraction is like. And they're like, do you want to hear what the like storyline is? And you have to say yes. And they tell you the storyline. And they say, would you like to hear more about like the mystical areas of Avengers Campus? And you say yes. And they talk about the next section.
So you don't have to go through the whole thing if you don't want to.
And then they say, would you like to hear about the culinary things that they have going on here? And you say yes. And they talk about Pym Test Kitchen and Shawarma Palace and stuff. And then they say, and that's it. Like, we hope to see you around or whatever. Thank you. And they end it. So all in all, if you listen to the entire thing, it's probably about 2 to 2.5 minutes.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not very long. But I think it's really neat. I thought it was cool. It's obviously her voice talking, so it's not like the Avengers talking or something. And it was very, somebody from Disneyland marketing wrote all of it, is kind of the thing. It wasn't like Imagineering wrote it. It definitely felt more marketing. Sure. But it's still really cool, and I hope they bring more of these things to smart speakers because it's fun. Like, I had fun doing it. I was like, this is kind of cool. And it'll get people excited for their trips.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The only way they could plus that is if they could somehow, like, make it more immersive and have, instead of her voice, have it be, like,
an Avenger.
Iron Man's voice or, whoever. Yeah, that'd be super cool.
That's what I think too. Or have like the voice of Disneyland. That would be so cool. Now, do you remember those things that you'd call and like Mickey Mouse or Don?
Yeah,
they should do that with the...
Would say like good night.
Yeah, they should do that with these things. Now, I can't remember. Do you have a smart speaker?
I have 2. They are still in the boxes from when I got them a year ago.
Why have you not hooked them up?
I don't know.
The union negotiations and another vote is on the horizon for the cast members at Disneyland. Since cast members at DCA have already voted to approve the contract, only Disneyland Park cast members are holding another vote to decide if they will strike or not. They need a 75% vote to strike, and only 60% voted down the contract, so there is still a ways to go. The vote takes place on December 3rd to decide to accept the contract or to strike. Mice Chat recommends travel insurance if you're going to Disneyland in December or January, as a strike would likely shut down the resort.
So the one thing I will say about Mice Chat's recommendation of travel insurance, before you do get travel insurance, read the fine print, because it may be like, that might not be something that they cover. You know what I mean? I don't know how that works. I would just check with the travel insurance, because this may not, I don't know if this is something travel insurance covers or not personally. So just check, even though, yes, it was a recommendation. Still double check, do your research. This makes me really sad. I really don't think Disney's going to allow it to go to a strike because, first of all, terrible publicity for them.
Yep.
Second of all, it's the holiday season. It's just going to get busier and busier and busier. So the thing that's interesting to me is that they didn't renegotiate anything. They're voting basically on the same thing again. So I don't know. It
there
seemed
was
like
all that confusion.
I was going to say, this whole thing seems to be really, really kind of muddy. There seemed to be a lot of confusion in the original voting of this, that people that were supposed to like stand and watch. I don't remember. I don't know how the whole thing works, but it sounded like things that should have been happening weren't really happening. People were getting dismissed that should have been staying there and watching the votes be counted were dismissed before all the votes were tallied. Just all sorts of kind of weirdness. So the whole thing just feels very strange to me. But as you all know, we 100% back. Yes, we love you, Disney, but we 100% back our cast members and want to make sure that our cast members are getting compensated fairly and that, they are being treated well, because come on, they're the magic. So we need them. And Disney can't have them strike. They would. I mean, what would happen?
Yeah. Well, so I'm on the fence about this one because no, I don't want Disneyland to close, right? Because like that's always a shame. And we saw from COVID that impacts so many people, not just Disneyland. So if the park were to close for one reason or another, now keep in mind, if they strike, the DCA cast members would be fine because they already agreed to it. So DCA could remain open, as I understand it. But Disneyland would probably close because they don't have enough cast members to, if all of them strike, they don't have enough management and other cast members from other unions or whatever to work those positions. They would probably have to close down. Now, I don't want that to happen because that's a lot of people's jobs. Yeah. Hotels would probably downsize, all that stuff, and we're already in a terrible situation. However, I also think that cast members should get paid well. One of the biggest arguments is the cost of living in Southern California and around the Anaheim area is very expensive. We have some cast members that we've talked to that, you know, it's a second job for them, or in some cases with some people, it's third job, that kind of thing. I'd like Disneyland to be a place where people could have it be their primary job and not have to work a bunch of jobs to be able to live down there and not have to commute a lot of hours. So I feel, especially with the fact that Disney has been raising prices on things and all that, I think Disney could pay more. I know we've done the calculations before that it adds up really quickly, millions of dollars, but something's got to change, right? If I'm paying more to go to the park, which all of us are, I would like the cast members to also get paid more. And I don't think the increase in ticket prices and food prices and all of that stuff has not kept pace with the pay increases for cast members either.
You know, and not just to put, I mean, this is a Disneyland podcast, but you know, it's not, how do I want to say this? It's not just Disney. This is kind of a bigger problem overall too. Obviously we're focusing on Disney because
Disneyland podcast.
This is a Disneyland podcast. And, you know, this is happening and this is very real right now at the resort. So I really hope the best. I hope it doesn't come down to a strike. I think if it gets close to a strike, I hope that Disney goes, oh, wait, and like comes back with something much more fair. Because, it's just.
I think they would lose, terrible. First of all, bad publicity. Bob Chapek's already got some publicity problems himself. This would just add to that. I think the businesses around the Disneyland Resort would also get mad, like I said, because they're going to be impacted by this decision as well. So I think that if they were to strike,
well, plus then you've got all of these people with their reservations that were supposed to have gone. So now you've got all of these guests upset too that had reservations
during the holidays, potentially. Yep. So my thought is, my comments and my thoughts on this is going to make it so we never get a media pass. My thought is maybe they should strike, and then Disney has to give them something really good to come back. I think my personal opinion, I think even if they vote to strike, I think Disney steps in and doesn't allow it to actually get to the picket line. Does that make sense? Well, but they have to do something.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll actually get to a picket line.
Sure.
Yes, they could vote to strike, but I don't think it
What I'm saying is perhaps the cast members should vote to strike because that will force Disney's hand to do something better for them. So I don't think that people realize this. We have some people that are more familiar with this than we are. And they say one of the big problems too with this situation that we haven't even talked about, never even thought about, was the DCA staff approved the contract, but Disneyland didn't. So if Disneyland strikes, that kind of puts them against the DCA cast members. So that's kind of unfortunate as well. So we'll have to see what happens. I hope that it turns out well for the cast members in the end, because that's really who needs the benefit more than anybody else. I mean, Disney obviously does to stay open, but the cast members are the one who makes the magic every day. So let's hope. I hope that maybe we only have one more time of having to talk about this on the show before everything just gets settled and everybody can be happy in the end. Because I feel like the last 3 or 4 episodes we've had to talk about this, and it's always kind of a bummer, but hopefully everybody will do the right thing and things will work out.
Psst, avast there. It'd be too late to alter course, mateys. And there be trivia questions lurking in every cove, waiting to be answered. Listen close and keep your ready Disney knowledge handy. That be the best way to answer correctly. And mark well me words, mateys. Dead men tell no tales. You come seeking questions and long-lost Disney information, eh? Sure, you come to the proper place, but keep a weather eye open, mates, and hold on tight, with both hands, if you please. There be squalls ahead, and James and Vern waiting for them what don't answer correctly.
Welcome to Trivia Land. How we feeling tonight? You pretty confident you know some good answers?
Maybe.
Not at all, because you gave me a hint when you were going down your rabbit hole, and
She has a
we're
hint?
doomed.
I gave Teresa a teaser. So
It has to do with Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, we don't know this.
Oh, I know one Thanksgiving fact. Let's see if it's what it
Yeah,
is.
if that's one of the questions. Yeah.
because we are
We're
recording
doomed.
because we are recording on the last day of November, and because I'm still enjoying leftover pumpkin pie that I have, and because today I finally finished the last of the Thanksgiving leftovers, I figure we needed some good Thanksgiving trivia. So I spent part of the afternoon, it was my day off today, diving down rabbit holes of Thanksgiving stuff. And it's amazing how many Thanksgiving-related things have actually happened at the Disneyland parks.
Doom.
So, I chose a couple little tidbits, and then I also gave you an easy one at the end, just a simple what queue are you in. So, let's see how you do.
Oh, just a simple what queue are you in?
Oh, you're going to be fine on this one. So, your first question from today's Thanksgiving rabbit hole. In 2009, the turkey who was saved by the traditional presidential pardon of the turkeys led the Give a Day, Get a Disney Day Thanksgiving parade at Disneyland. What was the turkey's name, and which president granted the pardon?
Oh, dear me.
What
Did
year?
you give us a year?
Yes, in 2009, the turkey who was saved by the traditional
Well, it was
presidential
President
So that
Barack
was
Obama.
Obama.
And I'm going to say
it
it's
was
a gobbles.
Tom. Turkey Tom.
It was something like that, I remember now.
I'm going to say it was Turkey Tom, and it was President Obama.
I'll still go with like gobbles.
Gobbles?
It's not right, because I think it was totally like a normal person name. But it was definitely Obama. Yes, because he would have been... yes, he would have been the president then. Because the election was 2000.
Yeah.
The election was 2008,
Yeah.
and he became president in January 2009.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then the following November, he was still president.
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, your second question today. You can spend Thanksgiving Day in Disneyland and not miss out on a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. At which Disneyland restaurant could you find turkey, mashed potatoes, cornbread stuffing, veggies, and pumpkin pie?
I would
Plaza
say
Inn?
the Plaza Inn, yeah.
Yeah.
Final answer?
Yeah. I feel like they used to do when the Big Thunder Ranch barbecue was back there. I feel like they used to do something back there as well. But I'm thinking that
Well,
Plaza Inn
and
is like the more
full
traditional.
disclosure, this is off of a 2021 review.
Okay. So yeah,
I was
Plaza
going to say,
Inn.
otherwise, Jolly Holiday has the Thanksgiving sandwich. So I don't know if you're talking like a traditional Thanksgiving meal
I'm
or
reading
just
specifically off the menu.
a meal
Okay.
that has all of those things
Yeah.
included.
I'm
'Cause
reading specifically off the menu from a 2021 review.
Can you
Okay.
read off the menu again, please?
Turkey, mashed potatoes, cornbread stuffing, veggies, and pumpkin pie.
Yeah, so not a sandwich.
We'll go with Plaza Inn.
Yeah, Plaza Inn.
Okay.
Maybe it's Caf.
No, I don't think so.
What were you
River
about
Bell?
to say?
No, I think it's Plaza Inn. You want to change your answer?
I don't know. I could make a million different arguments for a lot of different places.
What does your gut
Carnation
tell
Cafe.
you? What does your gut tell you?
I'm just going to Plaza Inn, obviously, but the more I think about it, the more I think, because I thought Ace said something about how he had turkey over in New Orleans Square.
3, 2,
I'm going to stay
One.
with Plaza Inn, but I
locking
kind of
in on
have
Plaza Inn.
I have a gut feeling or a little tickle that says French Market.
Well, anyway.
All right, your third question. Then called the Macy's Santa Claus Parade, Mickey made his first appearance as a balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade in what year?
Oh boy.
1932.
When did it start? Or is that
Ooh,
cheating? If you tell me.
I will happily look that up.
Well,
for you.
I think
did
they
the
just
Thanksgiving
I
Day
think they
parade
just
start?
celebrated like the 90th year like
Did
a
they?
year or two ago. Yeah.
I'm a terrible person. I might be like the only one. I don't watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
It's a tradition. We caught the end of it this year.
I don't remember the last time I watched it.
I don't know the last time I watched
totally
the whole
in
one.
the dark on
but-
that.
Yeah, I think they've done. I think there's like. I think this year was maybe like their 93rd annual or something like
So
that.
you said 1932.
32,
According to the wiki,
1924.
the Macy's Santa Claus Parade began in 1924.
So that's right. It's been 95 years.
Dang. And the first Mickey balloon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it was a little bit later. I'm going to say it was 19... We'll go 43.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Random guess, you mean? Yes.
And for your fourth question today, we're going to What Queue Are You In? And you both know the rules, but for any listeners that might not remember, they get 4 total clues. If they get it right in the first 2 clues, they get full credit for the answer. If they get it right in 4 clues, they get half credit for the answer. Your first clue. There are roses on the wall.
On the wall? Okay. Oh, wow.
And your second clue, while in this queue, you can see King Arthur's carousel.
So maybe there are roses on the wall. Maybe Pinocchio or Snow White. What is that? What does that look?
I'm trying to think of roses on the... Are you talking like real roses or painted roses?
Neither.
Neither? Well, that makes no sense.
Oh, there might be painted. I would have to go back through my pictures.
You said roses on the...
I'm gonna say.
I'm leaning Snow White is where I'm leaning.
I'll say Pinocchio then.
Are you locking in these answers, or do you want the next clue and go for half credit?
That's a great question.
I'll go for half credit.
Okay.
I'm going to lock in at Snow. Snow White's Enchanted Wish.
All right, your third clue. Animals are smiling at you.
It's probably Snow White then.
I locked. See that?
Good job.
And your fourth and final clue. The evil queen is looking down at you.
Yep. So Snow White.
Locking in on that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, listeners, how did you do listening at home? How do you think Teg and Teresa did here? Keep listening until after the discussion topic, and we'll all find out.
Well, this week for our show, we're going to welcome back a familiar voice. You probably remember her from episode 160 if you've been listening that long. But welcome back, Stephanie. We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be back.
For those of you that remember, or for those of you that may not know, Stephanie was a former cast member, and she was on with us. Actually, this was back in about a year ago, was on with us talking about her time at the Storybook Land Canal Boats.
Apparently, you're a Christmas tradition for us, Stephanie.
Yes. But today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the different types of social clubs that are with Disneyland. None of these are Disney sponsored clubs, but just there's kind of this separate community of Disney fans that make up these different social clubs.
I'm excited about this because I have no idea what any of this is.
I know.
So we actually saw this for the first time on our website. Somebody suggested it as a discussion topic. Was like gangs or let me see the exact Disney social clubs and gangs, and I was like, what the heck is that? So it's literally probably been there for years now.
Yep.
So we're finally getting to it. So Stephanie, thank you for coming on to talk to us about this. So
You're welcome.
So for somebody like me who has no idea what can you please tell the folks listening what is a Disneyland social club or gang?
So there's actually a couple different types of social groups. Let's call them social groups.
Sure.
So again, when you're talking about what people refer to as the gangs or the folks that you see walking around at Disneyland, and a lot of times they're wearing jean jackets or buttons or something to kind of distinguish who they are. Those are kind of private groups where there's actually like a membership involved. You almost have to apply to go ahead and join those groups, and they're kind of selective sometimes about who they allow in, because again, it's a group, and a lot of these are family groups. I really think that misnomer of gangs is just it's false. It really is.
Sure.
I've talked to several of these groups in line, and they're just super nice people, and they want to show their Disney fandom, and so they come up with all these great names for their group, and it's kids, it's parents, it's grandparents, it's just a whole bunch of fans, and their group is pretty tight knit, and they're just part of it. I imagine with the Key program now, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for them to get together and meet up in the park, because like Sundays, you would always see these groups. On every Sunday, you would see probably, I don't know, I'd see maybe 20, 25 groups sometimes on a busy Sunday.
Wow.
Of just people cruising around. And they're just fans. They just want to enjoy the park. And a lot of times they get together and they do things outside of the park. So, again, they're just a social club, but there is a page on Facebook that has more information, and I'll find that and send it to you, and you can put it in the show notes. But there's all sorts of different interests within those groups too, of what you're into, what kind of people join those groups.
Sure.
I've never really looked into that, because I just feel like if I'm going to be a member of a group, I want to be just accepted as who I am. I don't want to feel like I have to apply for it. Not that you really do, but they have their kind of criteria sometimes, I think. And I've just never felt comfortable. Like I'm not a standout person. So like, you're just not going to get me to wear a jean jacket or be like part of that, that's just not me. So there's that. And then there are the groups that are more public groups. And those are really the ones that I'm a big part of. And these are ones that anybody can join, anybody can be a part of, anybody can participate. There's no rules, regulations, anything like that you have to follow, except, be nice to people. I mean, that's just common.
That's a good rule. Yeah.
common courtesy. But the first group is Mice Chat. And I know you guys pull a lot of information from Mice Chat. Mm-hmm. I've been a part of Mice Chat for 15 years now.
Wow.
They're going to be celebrating their 20th anniversary come this February. And they're doing Gumball Rally again. That was just announced. Gumball Rally is going to be on February 11th, Saturday. Yes, 11th and 12th. And for those of you who don't know, Gumball Rally is an event. It's a paid-for event because there are prizes involved and things like that. It's basically a competition to determine which team can ride the most rides inside Disneyland within one day. And the way that it's determined is there's a set of questions, and these are complicated questions. So it's nothing, you can't Google this stuff.
Wow.
I mean, do you know what color the curtains are inside the Pinocchio ride to the left as you enter? I mean, I'm serious. These are the kinds of questions. Like,
that's great.
They're not Tag and Teresa trivia questions.
Right.
They're much more complicated than those. And so
sometimes they can get complicated.
Yeah, that's true.
Dang.
You guys get some doozies on there, but those are the types of questions. And then you get points for answering incorrectly, correctly, or they take away points if you answer incorrectly. There's rules, and the rules change every single year. So sometimes they'll throw a curveball like, hey, you'll get 10 points if you go to Tom Sawyer Island and you answer all these questions. Or, hey, you got to show up at noon and get this photo op, and then we'll give you points for that. So if you miss those things, you lose out on a ton of points. And you can do it in teams of 2, 3, or 4. And it's really fun. We have families who've been doing it for years. We have groups that get together. It's just a really fun day. And it's just all in the spirit of Disney fandom and friendly competition. And the whole event revolves, like Friday night, they do an event, kind of a kickoff event. And then Saturday is Gumball Rally. And then Sunday is a big in-park event where everybody gets together, rides a few rides, hangs out, and then people kind of go home from there. So that cool. group, as you know, Dusty does a lot of, and his staff do a lot of writing and information and attending the events and really keep us on the pulse of things. But in addition to that, there are these other events that they do. At pre-pandemic, they would do a lot more events too. So they'd have a book signing, just events up at they have done some events up at the Storybook Mansion, the Walt Disney Storybook Mansion. They did some stuff at Halloween. Just all kinds of things. They've done things with Disney celebrities, all of that. So that is, again, you just pay for like the activities that you want to participate in, but anybody's open to join those.
So if you are someone interested in joining the Mice Chat group, or how did you join the Mice Chat group? How did you find out when these events were going on and all that stuff?
So it's an interesting story. I back in the day, I got a Disneyland pass, and at the time I was kind of going by myself because a lot of my friends didn't have passes yet, and I was on kind of a crazy schedule. I was taking care of my father, who had brain cancer at the time, and Sundays were my day where my sister would come over and watch him, and then I would get to kind of get out of the house for a few hours. Well, I didn't want to go to the mall. I needed to go someplace where I felt happy. And so I would just go to Disneyland for a couple hours just on my own. And I had heard about a meetup group through meetup.com. And I was scheduled to meet up with that group. Well, when I got to the hub, this woman handed me this flyer with like all these activities on it, like a schedule of what this group was doing. And at that point I said, I like this group. They're organized. And so I said, to heck with the other group, because I couldn't even find where they were or what they were doing. And I just tagged along. I didn't know anybody. I just was like, hey, I'm here. And they welcomed me with open arms. And before I knew it, I was volunteering for the Gumball Rally and got to know Dusty and some of the rest of the crew there. And the rest is history. So again, I'll be there all Gumball Rally weekend. I've got it on the calendar. I've got one reservation. I got to wait till after Thanksgiving to make the second one, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just a fun group. They're a really good, solid team. Just so many people that are part of it. People come to one event. People, we see people, oh yeah, I haven't seen you in a couple of years. People come back. People come from like miles away to come to Gumball Rally too.
I mean, I would. That sounds pretty darn fun.
You guys should really think about doing it. I think you guys would get a good. You guys got a good team of 4 going on right there with your spouses. It's like and you would have total fun doing it.
Oh,
and that's the whole thing. And people dress up. There's team names. There's a competition for a spirit award. There's all these different companies. People wear t-shirts with their teams on it and crazy hats. And there's one team that keeps coming back year after year. And really, they don't care about winning, losing. It's not about that. They'll sit there and just cheer on the other teams. That's so fun. That's really their whole entire goal, is just to come and have fun as a family. And it's fantastic. And it's just really cool to see that. So that's Mice Chat. And then one of the other big groups that I'm involved in is through meetup.com. This wasn't the group that I didn't meet up with. This is totally different group that I found later on, this is the Disneyland Fan Club, and you can find them on meetup.com. I think we're about, 4,000 or 5,000 members at this point. I don't know. It's grown. And that was started by a couple that decided, hey, we want to just start a group. And the wife has unfortunately passed away, but the husband has carried on, and he's an amazing guy. His name is Rob Hall, and Rob's a great leader of the group. And we have so many different kinds of people in the group. I've just made a lot of friends within the group. That's how Tony and I met. So that's how I met my boyfriend was through that group. And it's not a hookup group. It's got nothing to do with it is not a dating group. That's not what it is. It's pretty cool that that's happened. It's a great way for people to connect with other fans, and the age ranges. We have people in their early 20s all the way up to people in their 70s, 80s who are just amazing. And that group, we used to go to Disneyland every second Sunday of the month, but of course with the closures and everything else, that's no longer happening. Now we're going to Knott's every second Sunday. So there's
Disneyland fan group at Knott's.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny that's. But we had to do something. We all had to do something, and Knott's opened before Disney did, and a lot of people got Knott's passes because they're so inexpensive.
Yeah, oh yeah.
A lot of people in the group. We have a lot of retirees in the group as well. So it's a money thing with Disney with the prices going up, and things like that. I get jealous though because the retiree group, some of them were there today for Mickey's birthday,
right?
And I'm like, I gotta work, so you can't always make it to those things. And they were taping for the holiday special.
Yes, I know. I saw that we had Gwen Stefani was there last night, and Pentatonics I think was that was the one that I knew. What Nora Jones I think was the other one that performed
Nora
today.
Jones.
So cool.
Yeah. So that's that group. And then within that group, we have different kind of interests, if you would, in that group. We also get together and go to dinner. So it could be at a Disney restaurant on property. Somebody says, hey, I got a reservation for, 8 people at Tortilla Joe's. Who wants to come?
Oh, yeah. Fun.
We've done Napa Rose. We've done, Blue Bayou. We've done like dinner packages for Fantasmic, just with smaller groups of people. We go off property to eat. There's a, new restaurant that opens and, hey, let's go try this new restaurant. And then my involvement with the group is I host the movie meets. So whenever a new Disney movie comes out, we do a group movie meet, and it's usually on the weekends. I've been doing Saturdays a lot lately, and we go see the first showing, which is like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And then we go to lunch. There's a great lunch place right by the theater. There's tons of lunch places, but we have a favorite over there, the Lazy Dog Cafe.
The Lazy Dog.
So
that's great.
Yeah, you can bring your dogs. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you could bring. See, oh, look at that.
I know Piper. She gets no attention whatsoever.
Luna's on the floor tearing up everything. Piper's like, pay attention to me.
Up everything, of course.
Yeah, my puppy to calm down. So she's resting for the moment. But so the movie meets are great, and we have anywhere from 8-10 people up to when Star Wars, I think we had 40 people show up. So and that's cool because everybody just gets to watch the movie, and the movie theater it's cheap. It's only $6.50 for the first showing of the movie. And everybody just reserves their seats online and shows up, watches the movie, goes to lunch. And then sometimes after that, people hang out and go do things, go shopping or whatever. So
how fun.
Yeah.
I wish we had a lively Disney community here in the Midwest. We don't have any type of groups of people to get together.
You and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone's interested in checking out the Disneyland fan club events, you said meetup.com is the best place to go for that?
Those are on meetup.com. And then there's another page that's kind of an offshoot of meetup.com. And that is called SoCal Fun Seekers. And that's a Facebook page.
Okay.
And that's where I post all of our movie meets are on that page, so people can sign up and register. And it's completely free. You obviously pay for your ticket to the movies and you pay for your lunch. But other than that, there's been some new members who joined during the pandemic. There's long-term members. There's people who were from the start of this. So it's been going strong for a long time. And it's just a really fun group of people. Just amazing. So,
these sound so great. I think you've like hyped these up so well. Like you just, because your excitement and passion for these groups really come through. It makes me want to like come out and join the group. Obviously I can't since I'm not local, but like I would totally be parts of these groups if I lived out there. It sounds so fun.
I think you just got to look at the events and see when we're out there,
plan my trips around
if there's anything going on.
That's what I'm saying. Just come on up. We have people from out of state who will show up.
Yeah.
Like we see them like once a year. They'll just, oh, the group's going here. Okay, cool. Like, okay, it's great. People moved away. They come back. I mean, it's crazy, but it's a pretty tight knit community, and we're always welcoming new members, and everybody's just, I have to say this. I mean, it's just one of the nicest groups of people you'll ever want to meet.
That's awesome.
And you already have something in common with these people. There's a lot of single people in the group. A lot of people join, kind of like me, who was, single at the time and just looking to meet some new friends. Not that I don't have enough other friends, but it's nice to meet like some hardcore Disney fans sometimes who share my crazy passion about Disney history and stuff like that. And
we don't know anything about that. Nope.
No, not at all. Nothing.
Too fun. And then for the Mice Chat events, is the best place to look at for those just micechat.com?
Micechat.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, and there's all the information about the Gumball Rally and the times and the prices and what all that entails. But again, I highly recommend it for anybody who really wants to just, it's basically a scavenger hunt, if you would. Competition to find these to answer these crazy questions and run yourself ragged through the park trying to find these and it's about planning and timing too of okay, well, wait, okay, this ride broke down, oh wait, we got to get out of this line, I mean, I have friends who did not make the last raft to Tom Sawyer's Island that year. That was like the bonus question, and were kicking themselves because they missed the last raft by like a minute. It like and that's it. You can't go back to that. It's closed for the evening. So there's things like that, and it's just really fun and just all the camaraderie and so I really hope that with the pandemic and with their reservations and everything else, I'm really, really hoping that it's gonna have a nice, strong comeback this year. We're really hoping for that and to keep it going and keep that tradition alive. So if anybody's planning on coming out, definitely sign up for Gumball Rally.
Do you have any advice or any advice or anything for anyone that's maybe thinking, hey, this sounds like fun, but still maybe a little like, a little timid about it?
There's really nothing to be timid about. I mean, I've been volunteering at the event for several years. And so I watch all the teams. I watch them pretty closely. My volunteering consists of checking people in early in the morning, handing out the question books. Did that in the rain pre-pandemic. Yeah. Well, we had Gumball Rally in 2020, right before the pandemic. And it was, the skies were clear, everything looked good. And I don't know what happened, but this rainstorm came through. We felt like it was Florida, and it just poured rain right as we're handing out the guidebooks, for the event. So people have like a soaked, wet book, and just
the pages are all sticking together.
Crazy. Yeah, that year that happened. Yeah, I think that was the year before. But anyway, that's happened in the past, and it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, what is going on here? So we've had all sorts of things happen in the middle of these events. I think now that I think about it, that was the year before. It wasn't the last rally. That was the year before that happened. I get confused. We've had so many of these rallies, pandemic brain, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, my advice, don't be scared. Try it out. And don't feel like, oh my gosh, it's a competition. Just have fun with it. That's the whole point. Have fun. And then you learn things. So we have teams that keep coming back, and they try to just beat their own score every time. And there's like different strategies too of, okay, well, maybe next time we needed to do this, or, we should have done this first, or we should have done that first, or you just kind of plan and strategize. And then you never know, because again, things happen.
Exactly.
You get stuck behind the parade. That's happened before. I mean, what are you going to do? You're trying to make it over, trying to run across the park to get to the photo op, and something happens along the way. You don't know. That's the beauty of it.
Was it the Gumball Rally? What was it? We've talked about this before, where there's some challenge about trying to get like on all the attractions in one day or something like that. What is that?
I don't remember what that's called.
That is, well, that's the Gumball Rally, but it's question based. So that's how they determine how many rides you've been on. So there's a question for like every ride that day. So that's the whole idea, is who can ride the most attractions in a day. And again, it's question based of, you would have to ride the ride to answer the question. And then the teams, they're wristbanded too. So what I do, part of my job as a spotter volunteer, is I'm out in the park and I'm inconspicuous and I'm looking for teams that might be cheating.
Oh.
And 9 times out of 10, it's a new group who doesn't know what they're doing and isn't like intentionally trying to cheat. They just don't know. So there's ways to like, your whole party has to stay together. So you can't have like 2 people go on one ride, 2 people go on another ride.
Sure, yeah.
If you have somebody in your party who doesn't want to ride, they have to wait at the exit for you. They can stand and wait in line, but then they need to wait at the exit. They can't go off and, like in the old days, run off and get a fast pass or again max pass or do any of that. You can't do that. So there's that part of it, and you can't. At points we said no, you can't use fast pass. Then we kind of changed it up and said, okay, you can use fast pass. I don't know what's going to happen if Genie Plus comes into this whole thing. I'm probably going to assume that you probably can't use it because that's an extra fee, but that'll be up to Dusty and team to decide that, because they make the rules. I don't. I get a rule sheet that day and I go, oh, okay, these are the rules for this for this year. So I have to, as a spotter, I need to know what the rules are, so I make sure nobody's cheating. But and then, you know, like a team of 4, you got to make sure, okay, is there really 4 people with them? Like, you can't split up into 2. And so the wristbands are color coordinated, so you know if it's a team of 2, 3, or 4. So you can spot them a mile away. Go, okay, yeah, team of 4. Okay, they're here. So spotters go out. We go out in the park, and we're just kind of hanging out. We just we know which rides have the questions and stuff, and which is pretty much all of them. But we'll be assigned different areas for a while. So like, hey, you're monitoring Fantasyland for like 2 hours. Then you're going to go over here. So you kind of switch up lanes, and you just go on rides and look for teams. And it's kind of interesting to stand at the exit sometimes of rides too, to make sure people don't exit. Like Lincoln, you don't want people bailing out of Mr. Lincoln. But you have to sit through the whole ride. And if the question's halfway through, so I've stood in the hallway of Mr. Lincoln several times. Be like, you got to go back. You got to
turn around.
Otherwise, you're going to get busted.
What does Disney think about these type of events and stuff like that? Because it seems like with wristbands and organized and paid things, it seems like if they wanted to stop it, they could. But apparently they're fairly ambivalent towards it.
They have been in the past. It's getting more and more difficult. They used to be very supportive. In fact, we do a photo in front of the castle usually. And in the past, we've been able to get a Disney photographer to come out and take that photo. But then I think last year or the year before, they wanted to like charge an exorbitant amount of money for it. They've also done things for us where it wasn't Tropical Hideaway at that point. It was the old Aladdin's Oasis. It hadn't been converted yet to Tropical Hideaway, but there was one year they let us do kind of our little group meetup there. So that was good. Now we can't even find a place where the group can even have lunch together. So on the next day where it's kind of the celebration after the rally's over, everybody's just going to be on their own for lunch because we can't find a dedicated place that's big enough that we can put everybody there, to sit together.
Mm-hmm. You can't get that outdoor Hungry Bear seating area. That thing seems massive.
The new, what is it, Lafitte's Landing?
No, where we sat that one night, where it just goes back forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose we could, if enough people came and we got there early, but then we're reserving tables, and that just becomes a whole thing, and we don't want to disrupt anything of those mice chat people, we don't want to shake anything up because it's a big group. It's well known. I mean, Dusty started this thing 20 years ago, and it's his group. It's his reputation. He's got a great reputation in the community, and I just feel like he doesn't want to do anything to shake that up, and I don't
that
either.
Makes sense.
So that's the whole thing is we just go with what Disney will allow us to do, but they haven't shut it down yet. So that's good. If they shut us down, they'd have to shut out. There's all those other scavenger hunt groups that do their thing. And there's all the kind of unofficial days that happen.
I feel like Disney is should be happy that they're bringing these people in that may not have otherwise come during that time or whatever.
Well, and the thing too is it's a different way to enjoy and experience the park.
Yeah.
It's not really something unless Disney's going to start putting on these events themselves, which I don't think they will. It's great that these groups, Mice Chat included, are drumming up this different type of excitement, and it's centering around the park.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's Disneyland, but the fun of it is it's that, the kind of like the Amazing Race kind of aspect of attacking the park, It's very cool.
And we do it during a time, we always do it on a non-busy weekend.
Sure,
so this one is the weekend before the President's Day holiday. So then it's like, okay, the likelihood of us getting reservations and the park not being completely packed. So it's like, hey, we're doing it on a weekend when you might not get so many people coming. And again, a lot of these people come from out of town too. So they're day ticket, they're buying tickets. They're not just the key holders like me who are local. So that's something to think about too. It's cool because people go on social media and they talk about what a great experience they had doing this and how much fun it was, and so it gives Disney some positive publicity too.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Disney could use some positive publicity. With the things that have happened in recent days, weeks, months.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with their loyal fans.
How do your I'm just trying to gauge, because I feel like we have a different opinion about this than some others. But in your groups of people that you hang out, it seems like with a variety of Disney fans.
I do.
What's been the general feeling of the key program and the reservation system? Let's limit it to those two things.
It's been a disappointment. I'm going to use the word disappointment because we paid a lot of money for those keys, and with the difficulty getting reservations, it's really been a challenge. And I'm a planner. I have to plan things. I have a you guys see my social calendar. People are like, how do you keep up with it? But I like to plan, but with only having the 6 reservations, that's a challenge. It really is, and the time frame, and then having to get those reservations when they go live, and then what's happening too is they're opening up reservations. So it seems like on Mondays now they're opening up more. Sometimes reservations just randomly open up. And that's frustrating too, because then it's like, well, hey, I couldn't get a reservation for this last week, so I decided to change my plans, and now I can get a reservation for this day. So I think as key holders, a lot of us are feeling like we're second-class citizens, because we feel like there's a finite number of spots for key holders from the different levels, and then the rest of these are open up to ticketed guests, regular ticketed guests, and then when those don't fill, then they're opening it up. So somebody said this the other day, and it actually made a lot of sense to me. It's like it's a timeshare, like we bought into a timeshare.
Sure, yeah.
We paid our $1,400, and now like DVC, you have to make a reservation. So it's a bit of a disappointment, and then to see how crowded the park is too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're still having to make reservations, and the park is still packed. So what's the problem here? And food lines are slow. They're understaffed, and we get it, COVID, and then they're in the middle of this whole union thing going on right now. So everybody gets it. And I think we all want to be nice to the cast members, and I have a few cast member friends, and I feel bad for them because they're having to take a lot of the brunt from everything.
Yeah.
But it's just disappointing that for such loyal fans that we have for years. I mean, I've had an AP on and off since 1984. So if that tells you something, and I have friends, we have people in the group who don't want to renew, who do not want to get a key. They decided, you know what, they wanted to wait and see how it went. I, of course, jumped on it the first day, but that's just me. But people who waited, and then they're like, wow, I'm glad I waited. And then other people who bought the key going, I'm really disappointed. And I I'm sorry I bought this. I wish I could return it. So it's a bummer because we're the big fan base, and this is very much a locals park. I mean, we obviously welcome our influx of visitors, and we enjoy having our visitors and all that. But it's really the locals who've kept that place going all these years, and to be treated like we're second class citizens is just it's not fair. We spent a lot of money there. I mean, I know how much money I dropped there. You want to know? I mean, I still haven't done my holiday shopping because I went on the 11th and the holiday stuff didn't start till the 12th. So there was minimal holiday merch. So I need to get back out there. I'll be out there Thanksgiving, which is next week. Good grief. I'll be doing my shopping then. Hopefully there's things available still because everything's in short supply. But yeah, so I'd say the word is disappointed, really.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to get the perspective because, our perspective is, we're out of staters, and, we aren't trying to get reservations that frequently. When we were there, we had some iffy reservation system, whatever, when we were there, but we got it figured out. And, it's interesting because I see a lot of stuff online where people are upset about it. And I feel like the people like in our community don't seem as upset about it, and so I was just trying to figure out what the like actual feeling was out there, because I feel like there's like with everything, right? There's a very vocal minority who's like pitchforks and torches and let's tear down Disneyland because they've made a bad decision, and then there's people that are like, yeah, it sucks, but like we knew when we bought the tickets that we were going to have this many reservations, whatever. I don't want this conversation to go on forever, but I also want to say the other thing I think is happening, and you can tell me what you think from your group of people, is people are panic reserving.
Yeah.
Oh, good grief. Yeah.
So really the parks aren't filling up in reality. It's just people are like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one. It's like the COVID toilet paper situation. It's like everybody's making a mad rush. They're reserving stuff whether they need it or not because they know they can cancel it later, and they don't want to miss out.
It's interesting you say that because a couple weeks ago I got a survey after I'd gone to Disney, and one of the questions literally was phrased as, are you making reservations because these are actual dates that you want to go, or are you just making reservations to hold a place? And I thought
they have to know.
I thought, okay, who's going to actually say, oh, I'm just holding a place? who's going to be dumb enough to say
But
that?
you know what? They can look at the data. They can see this pass holder makes reservations all the time and then cancels them.
And then they cancel them. Yeah.
I think that's very entertaining.
And, that midnight cancellation, I'm telling you, people are on that like 12:01. They're swooping up reservations. So for Christmas Day, I was really concerned I wasn't going to be able to get a reservation Christmas Day. And I got DCA. I decided to get DCA instead of Disney because we can always hop over there at 1 anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But when those reservations came online, it was like those were snapped up so quick.
Yeah.
And then what's also disappointing is things like Disney Plus Day. Nobody knew about it, so nobody could really make an advanced reservation to plan ahead for that. Candlelight was announced. I got lucky. I had heard through the grapevine that Candlelight was coming back, so I went ahead and made a reservation for that weekend, hoping it did, and I got lucky. But that was just pure luck of like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
I know when it usually is. It's usually the first weekend. So I went ahead and did that. But now all these people are disappointed because they can't get a reservation and they want to go to Candlelight. Candlelight's a zoo, but it's amazing and it's fun. And I'm going with a couple people, so it'll be fine. We'll camp out all day and it'll be good. But a couple of other groups that I'm involved with.
But wait, there's more?
There's the Disneyana fan club as opposed to the Disneyland fan club.
That would be a fun one.
The Disneyana fan club has been around for many, many years. It was called the National Fantasy Club. It was mostly for like collectors and things like that. Now that is a paid group. So you have to become a member of that group, but it's cheap. It's like, I want to say it's like $35 a year or something like that.
Yeah.
And that group has chapters all over the U.S. There's even an Australia chapter, I believe.
Oh,
wow.
That is the group that I went to Florida with for the 50th. We had a group of 100 people that was organized as far as getting hotel rooms, and we did a meetup. There's a gentleman who's a travel agent within the group, and so he helped arrange all this stuff that we did.
Nice.
And that's the group I went to China with when I went to all the Asia parks.
Oh, yeah.
This is the same group. That was only 18 people that went on that trip. They've gone to Paris. They've done cruises. They've done other things. Then they do their special events, which is their main event is the Disneyana Show and Sale. Mm-hmm. And that is a collectible event where there's booths and people sell all their Disney merchandise. So it's a great thing to pick up any kind of collectible stuff. There's all these dealers there. And then they have special guests. Bob Gurr's always there floating around. Terry Hardin always has a table. We got to talk about that too, pumpkins.
Yeah.
So Terry has a table there. All the authors have tables there. And it's so unlike D23 where it's crazy, where you can't get in, you can't see anybody, you can't talk to anybody, because there you just walk up to the table. It's not not like there's mass people. And they do, there's usually presentations. And like Kevin and Jody, the artist, Kevin and Jody,
mm-hmm.
You've heard of them. They were supposed to do an event a couple of months ago, but it unfortunately got canceled because of COVID. So it's been rescheduled for the spring. So hopefully everything will be fine by then. But so they do presentations. So there's been like Disney Imagineers there. I mean, I sat next to Tony Baxter at a dinner one time. So they just do different events, and then the chapters do events too. So like the Florida chapter, the Daytona chapter is very active. There's a Pacific Northwest chapter that's extremely active. I don't know if there's anybody in your area, but might not be a bad idea to
I'm
check
on
that
the
out.
website right now. There is a Wisconsin chapter listed.
There you go.
There is.
See, there you go. So that's great too, and that's just a kind of a different type of group. That does different events, and then there's an offshoot of that same group here locally that's called Friends of the Mouse. And that is a group that meets once a month, and they have a Saturday meeting, and they do different activities, kind of similar things. They have great guest speakers sometimes. We've had just all assortment of different Disney people come in and talk to us in that group. Unfortunately, I'm not as involved in that group as I used to be, because I've just, life.
Time, yes.
And
How dare you can't make it to like 30 group things.
I know, right? I know. They always, like, whenever I show up, they're like, oh, look who's here. But there's that. And then there is yet another group called the Disneyland Alumni Club.
Oh, fun.
And that group is for former cast members or friends of former cast members. It's really open to anybody can join. And that group just did an amazing banquet that they were trying to do for the 65th anniversary, because they do this big banquet every 5 years. And they obviously couldn't do it last year because of COVID, but they did the 65 plus one banquet this year. And they had the two announcers, the husband and wife team that are the Disneyland and DCA announcers. Mm-hmm. They emceed the event.
How awesome.
So they were there. I chatted with them. It was great. And it was just a really fun night. We had an Imagineer who worked on the new Snow White ride. He talked to us and explained the whole thing and all the changes he made and why he made them. And so just you get to meet people like that at these events. Wow. and talk to these people without it being like the insanity of D23 where we can't get next to anybody,
Right. So kind of more casual.
See, we need to go to these things, smaller. Teresa, so we can get more interviews.
I just want to meet and talk to all these people and hear these stories. That sounds so cool.
Yeah. So,
could you imagine attending an event that's emceed by the voice of Disneyland
That'd
and
be
DCA?
so cool. That'd be so cool.
That's so cool.
It was really cool. And just to hear them, when they started talking, we're like, But it's just so cool and fun. And I'm so lucky to live here where I do, and to be a part of these organizations and these groups that have just really enhanced my Disney fandom. And I learned so much from even just talking to some of the other members, that Disneyana fan club. I mean, there's people who started that organization way back in the day, and they're so knowledgeable, and they know people, like, they could pick up the phone and call Bob Gurr. Hey, like, who does that?
Right.
But yeah, and that's kind of with that fan club group. That's how I got involved with Terry Hardin's group, with her tribe that she has on Patreon. And that's how I got involved in the whole pumpkin carving thing. I don't know if I talked to you guys about that, but we had about 18 people over here at my house carving pumpkins right before Halloween.
I was looking at Terry's stuff online because I thought it was a pretty decent pumpkin carving display. Terry, former Imagineer, holy, like, crazy next level. It's
are you surprised?
No, but like it's not even carving. It's like it's more like sculpting. It is amazing.
It is
so
sculpting.
Cool.
And she has these tool sets, so she lets everybody use her tools that she brings, and then you can purchase them, if you want to use them. And some of these things look like dental instruments. I'm like, oh, what is that? And so I didn't, because I hosted, I didn't carve. I'm not an artist. But I'm a better hostess than I am artist. Let me put it that way. So I handled all the other details and all of that. And then she was running around like crazy because everybody was new. There was only one person,
I'm sure. Yeah.
One person who had done her virtual class last year during the pandemic, but it was a ton of fun. That woman has more energy than I've ever seen in my life. And she just go. And she's such an amazing person. You should have her on the show. I can connect you if you want. She'll talk for hours though. You're going to need like 3 hours.
That's perfect. We'll just keep cutting it into.
That's fine. We can have like 6 months of stuff. It's fine.
I'm not kidding. Her career, Star Wars, Muppets, Captain EO. I'm just scratching the surface here. Yeah. The dragon, the dragon in Paris. That's hers. Just like she knows everybody too. Like,
I believe it.
I'll mention something. She'll be like, oh yeah, I need to call so and so, and
And you just met her through the friend or the was it the Friends of the Mouse or the Disneyana group?
That was through the Disneyana group, because she always has a table at the show and sale.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then kind of during the pandemic, I joined her Patreon group because it's cheap. It's like $5 a month.
Yeah.
And so I decided to, because I was kind of following her on YouTube, because, not a whole lot else to do during the pandemic. So I'm like, you know what? I should join her group. Like I've known who this woman is, So I got to know her. And then she was talking in August about how she really wanted to do the pumpkin carving classes again. But the pumpkin patch that she was affiliated with, that she'd been working with for years up in LA, had closed. I think Ventura had closed, and she's like, I don't have a home. I don't know where I can carve pumpkins, and I need to find another pumpkin patch. And so I said, well, what do you need to do the carving? Does it need to be at a pumpkin patch? And she said, no. And I said, what about a backyard in Anaheim? And she goes, oh my gosh, that'd be perfect. So, we just, because I have a huge backyard, so it's seriously no big deal to have 20 people in the backyard. 30 people, whatever. 50, I don't know. I think I've had 75 people in my backyard before.
Wow. Yeah.
Know.
So you've got space.
We have lots of space, and so it worked out great. And then I got her connected with the Irvine Park Railroad, which is about 15-20 minutes away from here, and it's a park. There's a railroad, and then there's a pumpkin patch every year. So I got her connected with the owner of that. And so we went up there, we checked it out, we met with him, and then we came back to get the pumpkins. And picking out pumpkins with her was just hilarious, because she's just like, it's just like squirrel, like, look at that one. Oh, wait, look at this one. We're on the train, like going around the train, and she's, oh, wait, we got to go back and get that one over there. So it was just hilarious. And she taught me how to pick out a proper pumpkin to carve.
Yeah.
Like you got to pick out a good one, or you got to pick out ones that are kind of weird looking. And it's like there's kind of like all this different criteria for picking out a pumpkin that I never would have thought of in a million years. But people had a great time, and we're going to do it again next year.
Oh, fun!
So yeah, if you guys want to plan a trip out here around Halloween time,
I mean, I would.
I know you won't be able to like fly your pumpkins home, but
that's okay.
There were several people from out of state who came, and Terry ended up with their pumpkins, and so she took them home to her house. But
that's fun.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, our carved pumpkins became squirrel food almost instantly here this year. So maybe it's the joy of doing it and then seeing it, and then you take the picture because it's never gonna probably look that great again because something's gonna eat it or whatever. So
time always.
Yeah,
takes
but then
care of it.
time takes a toll.
We even had a professional photographer, a photopass photographer from Disney, who was here all day taking professional photographs.
That's cool.
So that was really cool too. Yeah.
Dang,
so
what a
yeah,
fun
it was
event.
Yeah, and just lots of Disney fans. We did giveaways too. We had all kinds of prizes and gave stuff away, and so I turned it into an event, more than just the pumpkin carving, and people really seemed to enjoy that. So,
as per usual with these type of interviews, we had so much to talk about that we will continue this interview with Stephanie and social clubs. We're going to talk about so many other different things next week, so tune in for that.
It's okay. I'll be the only weekly tier without an answer. Make sure you send your questions to Producer James or Producer Vern at trivia@DLWeekly.net.
Welcome back. You ready to find out how you did tonight?
I can't wait.
I don't feel as terrible as I thought I was going to.
Yeah, well, that's good. I thought that I had you completely killed, and it wasn't complete. So
we're not totally dead.
Yes,
that's good.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Yep. So let's get into it. Your first question. In 2009, the turkey who was saved by the traditional presidential pardon led the Give a Day, Get a Disney Day Thanksgiving parade at Disneyland. What was the turkey's name, and which president granted the pardon? So I would give you half credit for knowing either the turkey or the president, and full credit if you got both. So both of you were correct in knowing that it was President Barack Obama.
Woo!
Your guesses of Tom and Gobbles were incorrect.
Because his name was Tom Gobbles.
The name I was looking for was Courage.
Courage. What a much more well-rounded
why
name.
do you have courage if you got pardoned? Courage is like, I'm going in to get chopped.
But he bravely went in to get chopped, and then he got pardoned. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, there have been other turkeys that were named like Marshmallow and Yam. And...
Oh, yeah, that's right, Yam.
Yep. So, I mean, there's all sorts of... They come up with good names for the turkeys. So, yep, half credit for each of you on that one. Your second question. You can spend Thanksgiving Day in Disneyland and not miss out on a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. At which Disneyland restaurant could you find turkey, mashed potatoes, cornbread stuffing, veggies, and pumpkin pie? You both locked in on Plaza Inn. The answer that I was looking for was Carnation Cafe.
Should have gone with your gut.
Well, my gut kind of took me a couple of places. Carnation Cafe was one of those places, but I was thinking French Market as well.
Doesn't the Plaza Inn seem like the place that you would naturally go if you didn't know?
I think we feel Plaza Inn because they do chicken. So
they just seem like a place that would do a dinner like that because they have the traditional things with mashed potatoes and all that.
But I feel like Carnation Cafe also makes a ton of sense because
I suppose. I only know Carnation Cafe's menu for breakfast. I've only eaten there for breakfast.
Chili, fried pickles. Next trip, maybe we should try and make it a point to eat like lunch or dinner at Carnation Cafe since neither
if you
of us
can
have
get
done
in there.
That.
I want to eat outside though on the patio if possible.
Oh,
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lee does say in the chat that he knows the Plaza Inn has served the Thanksgiving dinner in the past.
Aha.
But that doesn't count for this.
Maybe
You did warn us there was 2021. So.
Yes, the 2021 review that I read in my rabbit hole.
It could be that they change it every few years too.
That's
Maybe
true.
Sometimes it's here, there, everywhere.
Yes.
All right, next one. I'm excited
Blue
for next
Bayou
one.
did have a pumpkin creme brulee that the pictures looked phenomenal.
Pumpkin creme brulee?
Oh,
They
yes.
are working on they've like started with like their cold brew game. We have all these delicious, amazing sounding cold brews coming out with every season. However, this holiday season is like their creme brulee game, because we've got some cookie butter creme brulee at the Blue Bayou right now for the holiday time, and then there's that hot cocoa one that we've heard such good things about as well. I've only ever had traditional creme brulee, so all of these flavored creme brulees are like super interesting to me.
I just keep thinking of Emily in Paris when the guy was upset and he was cracking creme brulee tops. Anyway.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Your third question. Then called the Macy's Santa Claus Parade, Mickey made his first appearance as a balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade in what year? Your guesses were 1932 and 1943. The year I was looking for was 1934.
Oh!
Like I said, and it's somewhere in between.
It was a joint venture between Walt and... I forgot his name. Hold on. Between Walt and the head of production for Macy's. Mickey was 40 feet tall, hand-painted, and had a star on his chest as a nod to the Macy's logo.
That's cool.
Wow. That's incredible.
I forget how,
what a Walt thing to do.
How amazing, the balloons have been around for so long in the parade. It's just crazy.
But no, what a Walt thing to do to partner on the balloon with someone. Because that was what I was kind of thinking. I'm like, I don't know if he would, money-wise, would they have been able to afford a balloon for the parade? So
Walt was great at doing that.
That's why I went a little bit later thinking, well, maybe the company had a little bit more spending. But that's exactly, that's what he did. A lot of stuff. Look at half of, Disneyland, for example, but also the 1964 World's Fair attractions were all partnered up on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very resourceful.
It was very smart.
And your fourth and final question of tonight, whenever. What queue are you in? There are roses on the wall. You can see King Arthur's carousel. There are animals smiling at you. And the evil queen is looking down on you. You were both correct at whatever point you said Snow White's enchanted wish.
Yay.
Good job, Teresa.
Good job.
Well, listeners, how do you think they did? How did you do listening at home? Do you think you've got some great trivia to send in for us? If you would like to do so, feel free at trivia@dlweekly.net.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
So until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us. And we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.